I do think there's a personality type that becomes a lawyer. And that personality type is someone that wants to be prepared, to plan, and to have everything go the way they want, and they want to be in control. And all new lawyers need to let that go. They just have to let it go. If the jury sees that one piece of evidence getting thrown out ruins your whole case, they don't think your case is very strong. And like you said with hospitality, they can read those nuances. If you react to a judge's decision like, oh, the jury's gonna think, oh, this case wasn't that good anyway. So you have to take those classes.
All right, welcome to this episode of Bourbon of Proof, where we talk to those that have succeeded at law and life. We do it over spirits, some a little soft, some a little stronger, but we're very privileged to be here today with Mr. Charles Lew, who'll be co-hosting at his place, The Firm, which is a private whiskey club, members only, geared toward whom?
Members.
But this is why I like the co-host, man. He's very, on top of semantics. He always drinks pre-production, post-production, during production. So,
yeah, of course.
Charles, and on our first episode ever, thanks for coming, dude.
It's always an honor to be with such a visionary.
And we have, speaking of visionaries,
yeah,
we have Mr. Dave Racki of Rackico Games.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, that's right. So Dave is not, for all listening, watching, is not a lawyer.
Oh,
Brother's
okay.
a lawyer.
Brother is a lawyer.
Okay.
Brother is a lawyer in Boston, but Dave works law adjacent, where he has a legal technology company that assists all lawyers in trials. So he's seen more trials than most lawyers ever.
I've seen a lot of trials for sure. Dozens and dozens of trials.
Yeah. Do you like it? You ever
like
look at it and
trials.
say, dude, these guys are fucking terrible? You have to.
Well, most of them are good. Some of them are bad. I like it because it's not that much pressure. Well, I mean, it's a lot of pressure for my company because we're putting up tech and we're putting up evidence and stuff, but these lawyers have millions on the line and stuff. So I like it. I like going to court. I like the judges. I like the clerks, but they can be tough.
Yeah. So Dave also has his Rackico Games, which something we'll talk about is a gaming company geared towards taking RPGs to the next level.
Tabletop gaming.
That's
Making
exciting.
A digital tabletop game like
And
D&D.
I wore my Run D&D shirt, marrying two of my favorite things, hip-hop and Dungeons & Dragons.
Very nice.
It'll be called Ravel after this. We'll talk about Dave's game, Ravel, which will hopefully be out maybe by the time this airs.
I hope
Which
so.
I'm
This
very
year, I think, for
excited
sure.
about. So first, we're going to kick it off, Dave. So,
Yes.
The first whiskey that I selected for you is something called Blood Oath.
Oh, I love the name.
Yes.
Sounds very D&D.
So this is the two. Yeah, it is very D&D. We'll do an oath after this. We might do a spell. We might cast something.
We can do like a cut our fingers.
We could do a blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, this is how you start diseases.
It's a blood oath.
Yeah. And we're all tested. We're good.
All right. Well, he might not be. We didn't do it.
That's true.
But this is important because this Blood Oath came out on February 10th, 2021. This is pack number 7.
Wow.
Very nice.
So this is right around when you started a company called Rackico Games.
That is right when we started our game company.
Amazing.
I love it. Let's do it.
So that he's a pandemic. I always think that great entrepreneurism is built out of depressive economic times. This was during the COVID era where he started his company, and they unleashed the Blood Oath number 7.
I'm in.
You better be in or you're off the show.
What if I did
You
say
have no
no?
choice.
If
You're
you
in.
did say no, well,
All right. Let me
we
see.
have some producers
you.
over here that'll. Cheers, gentlemen. Thank you for coming.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Blood Oath.
Oh, very nice. It's a sipping whiskey?
You can shoot it if you want.
Okay.
I mean, it's really.
There's no rules.
As
there.
in your campaigns, you could do whatever the fuck you want.
There you go. You can improvise. I love it.
Yeah.
Let me roll a 1D100 on this.
Oh.
Critical miss. I just throw it over my shoulder.
Yeah, you trip when you just swallow. Okay.
Okay.
It tastes really good.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Blood Oath, by the way.
I mean, they come out with this yearly, and every design on it is all different seal. Like sometimes it has a lot of cool designs. Like I have the 8, I think, or the 10.
I love it.
9.
Tastes good. Do we analyze it? It tastes like whiskey.
Yeah, it tastes like. It tastes great. It tastes like whiskey.
Tastes good.
So, Dave, you're a
finish.
Bostonian, right?
I'm from Boston originally. Yep.
So, I mean, tell us how you got.
Better Pittsburgh, as I like to say.
You're so dumb. So, how did you get to? Tell us about your journey to Los Angeles, because Dave and I met when he was still working at the Cheesecake Factory,
I was.
moonlighting as an actor or an actor.
How long ago?
At least 12 years, maybe?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been a while. and then we played in the LA Baseball League.
Yeah,
I came on here in a Honda Civic. That's how I got here. Drove cross country.
very literal.
Yeah.
I was gonna go to law school. My brother was a lawyer, and he said, "Don't go to law school. Go try." Well, I don't think, because he didn't really like being a lawyer, but just didn't think it was for me at that time in my life. I was like 22, 23. So I got in a car and I drove to LA to pursue acting. And then I worked at Cheesecake Factory, and then met you and played baseball with you.
Yep. And then,
Did you act?
I did, yeah. I did a few things. I was in Better Call Saul, and I was in
amazing.
Independence Day 2. Although I had a big scene in Independence Day and it got cut, which was a bummer. And that was kind of my swan song out of acting.
Better times. Now you're behind the camera, behind the television, behind the computer. Why would you say this?
I think you said it enough. I'm behind it all.
Yeah.
I'm behind it all now.
Yeah,
I'm behind the
you are.
camera for sure.
He's a producer.
I'm a producer.
I was thinking of you as like the producer of trials, actually live action trials, because like when our firm does it, many others, is we lean on Dave and Dave's company to create our story arcs, to create our PowerPoints, to do our imagery, and also a good sounding board for someone that's not a lawyer to discuss what the fuck is going on, man. How do you feel about it? Sometimes Dave will be texting us like, "Your case is shit," or "That was the worst witness I've ever seen."
You have to see that stuff, like especially because our techs are sitting there behind the lawyer, and the lawyer's not really looking at the jury a lot of time. So we have eyes on the jury. You know what I mean? We can see how the jury's reacting to what you're saying. They're not believing that, or that witness said something, and some jury member looked at the person next to him and went like that. You know what I mean? Like, or sometimes I'll say to Bob like, "Oh, hey, juror number 3 is wearing a Philadelphia Eagles keychain.
Sure.
You might want to mention something about Philly." You know? Like,
And you're not looking at it from a legal perspective.
Yeah, he's just focused on his case and trying to build his case in chief, and we're looking at how is the case actually unraveling in the middle of the courtroom. You know,
And
it is really
like,
true.
like he doesn't. I try not to let most lawyers shouldn't let them know much about the trial, so they see it as it evolves with fresh eyes.
That's way better for us, for sure. You want to hear how the jury might respond to it. Is the same way our tech's going to respond to it. You know, we have all the evidence there. Technically, we could see how the case is, but it doesn't matter because someone's not getting in anyway. You know, so you have to only be able to see what the jury sees.
And I mean, so you guys do all of California right now?
We're all the way up to San Fran, maybe a little bit above San Fran, but I don't know if there's many cases up there. And yeah, down to San Diego. Yep, we go all over Riverside, Santa Barbara.
So, you got to tell like our viewers and listeners, what are some just interesting shit that's happened? I mean, you got to have some stories, man.
I got a lot of good stories.
Well, that's it. We're talking weird stories.
Yeah,
This is a good story. I promised.
Pick your top 3.
I promised Craig I'll tell this one story at least.
Okay.
Tell me how you think. So we do a lot of PowerPoints, as you know, obviously. We set up all the tech, we run wires everywhere, we have monitors everywhere, people, for the jury, projection screens. And we have clickers, because we run the PowerPoints through our laptops, because the lawyer just wants to get there with a clicker, they have it all in their head. They might have a screen on the side that lets them know their notes, but, they've practiced, rehearsed this. So Grayson walks into a trial, and he's about to do his close, and it's a 120-page PowerPoint.
That's Grayson Goody.
Grayson Goody, for everyone that doesn't know. Excellent trial lawyer. And I think this was maybe 5 years ago, maybe when he was first becoming the Grayson Goody we know today. So he gets in with his nice suit, and Craig had placed a PowerPoint clicker on the corner of the table. So Grayson was going to walk by, grab the PowerPoint clicker, and go do his presentation. But Craig didn't know that Grayson was about to start, so he's in the middle of changing batteries on the PowerPoint clicker. So he's like this in his bag. Grayson walks in, the judge says, "Oh, here we go, all rise." Grayson just grabs the PowerPoint clicker, goes into his PowerPoint, and he starts doing the PowerPoint. Craig, our tech, is sitting there watching his hand.
Oh,
every time he goes like this, Craig goes next.
Wow.
Grayson doesn't know it. Grayson's clueless that this is happening. He gets to the ringer. All of a sudden, Craig thinks he's at the end of it. It's like 111 pages, the PowerPoint. He gets to the end, and he has one of those classic slides you love to do where it says, "Here's all the people that would have to be in on the conspiracy for the defense's case to be correct."
That's like a 30 click.
And he clicks 30 different pictures in, and he's clicking the doctor, the husband.
Oh, man.
He's going with this, and Craig's trying to time it up. Beautiful. After Craig went up to hand him the batteries. There's no batteries in that clicker.
Wow.
That was the best.
We had one trial, which I didn't do, but one of the jurors fell in love with Dave Racki. The trial tech. We won't tell the whole story, but it was like trying to write him love letters.
Nice.
I had to tell the judge. I was like, "I'm not allowed to talk to you. I'm an independent third party." Yeah, he wanted to make me pierogies, and
Yeah. A guy in Palm Springs wanted to make him pierogies, take him with a mom. Dave's like, "I'm just here watching a trial."
yeah.
I guess you put out a vibe. I don't know.
asked the lawyers. They were like, "Don't talk to him. Just say you can't talk to him." So I just sent him a message, maybe after. Yeah,
Man, that was fucking wild.
that was a wild trial.
And we had some...
Won
lot
that trial
of-
big. Won that trial
Big
big.
was trial big. We had many nights playing Uno together in the middle of trial and things. But let's talk about the evolution of like you coming out here to
Yeah.
pursue acting. Your brother was a lawyer. I mean,
Yeah.
do you ever now think you could probably try a case better than anybody right now, seeing it so many times.
I think so, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've had these discussions, and you're almost dead on with your intuition to do things. But it's also like most great lawyers we know were service industry folk, right? So,
Yeah, I bartended for 10 years.
bartender, as a telemarketer. What did you do growing up?
Bartended,
Yeah.
ran security.
That's right. This guy was huge. He was like 300 pounds at one point.
Yeah,
Muscle.
Nice.
Yeah, played security for a while, but I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's just people interactions and understanding emotions and being able to look at individuals and discern what drives them. So
Totally.
I think hospitality, to your point, Bob, is that's where you see the broadest range of emotions and you really get to understand people.
100%. That's 50% of trials, or more.
So now, you're at this point. Do you ever say, look, I'm going to go take a 2-year accelerated path, become a lawyer, and just start running game?
I've thought of it.
Why wouldn't you do it?
3 years ago, I thought of it before I had these 2 businesses that were pretty successful when I was running. If I didn't have the businesses, I would really think of it. I think the law is great, and I think I could be good at it. I would want to do trials, though, and not a lot of lawyers do trials.
No.
Like, what's the percentage? Less than 5%, I would imagine.
Less than 1%.
Even trial lawyers
Yeah.
don't do trials.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean?
I think even the
Yeah.
lawyers who do trials don't do them like Bob or
Yeah.
other successful trial lawyers.
Totally. It would
Yeah.
be fun. It's a lot of theatrics. It would be like acting. It would be like going back to acting, I would
It
consider
is.
it. It's like smart acting.
So what do you think? So there's some people that do, like I know one guy, Brian Breiter, that does improv for lawyers, and he teaches trial lawyers how to do these things. I mean, what would you, because you grew up in, doing these types of things, what are some things you'd recommend for lawyers to be able to role play or do
Yeah, that's
fantasy play or be able to like turn them into something else or think from another perspective?
I don't want to say this because it's almost insulting, but I do think there's a personality type that becomes a lawyer. And that personality type is someone that wants to be prepared to plan and to have everything go the way they want, and they want to be in control. And all new lawyers need to let that go. They just have to let it go. The defense is the judge might even never mind what the defense does. The judge might say that piece of evidence can't come in, and that throws your whole case. Now 20 slides on your PowerPoint are out. You have to be able to adapt to that. The more you can adapt to that, the jury will think you have a way better case. If the jury sees that one piece of evidence getting thrown out ruins your whole case, they don't think your case is very strong. And like you said with hospitality, they can read those nuances. If you react to a judge's decision like, the jury's going to think, this case wasn't that good anyway. So
So
you have to take those classes.
Thinking on your feet.
You have to be able to think.
And how
on your
the
feet.
nonverbal is huge. People don't, you hear. So lawyers a lot, like even the appellate courts, they're reading transcripts. They don't get the feel for what's going on. It's like how can you live this situation? Because there's a lot of nonverbal stuff with what the witness is doing or saying, or how the lawyer's presenting it. A lot of nonverbal shit. Thinking of nonverbal shit, you have something behind your back.
I do. You ready?
I'm ready. I want to see what he's been hiding back there.
I came to present you a gift. It's so heavy. Here you go.
Oh my gosh, this is pretty fucking heavy.
I know it's not a bourbon, but it's a whiskey, and
Yeah,
I've never
it's a
seen it
very cool
before.
one. Yeah.
And we have
I've never
samurais in my D&D game. I shouldn't
Yeah.
call it a D&D game. In my
It's not a
tabletop game.
what do you say? Your tabletop game. Oh my god.
This is very cool.
Kind of looks like the design on that samurai in my game too.
We can't even get this out of here. I only have a strength of 12. Just kidding. It's like
Gloves
22.
of strength. There you go.
At least.
I think this is tied in. Is this a joke? Oh my god. I'm
actually
afraid to
it's a prank,
break this.
yeah.
This kind of looks like.
Oh my god.
This is outrageous. Remember that Kurt Russell movie?
Big Trouble in Little China.
No. Yes.
Amazing.
This looks like exactly
It does,
one of the
yeah.
things.
I've actually never seen it.
Bro, one of the
How
best
have
scenes
you not
ever.
seen
Whenever
it?
I know.
the villain at the end, the big bad guy, throws a knife right at Kurt Russell, and for no, he catches it, throws it right back.
Yeah.
It's like one of the funniest scenes.
Great
Just out of
scene.
nowhere, I was just
Great scene.
dying.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good shit. I don't even know how we open this.
I hope it's good. We should definitely try it.
It's good.
Just rip his head off. There you go.
Oh.
Is
So
it like another? Oh, there you go.
I don't even
I'm gonna
know.
unfortunately speak
Says
for
arm.
experience. It's nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you know this one. Of course he knows
Unfortunately,
everything.
I wish I had something else.
I can't even. I mean,
there should be a little pop. Yeah.
he knows how to do this. There's like some secret thing. So, Dave, in your game,
Yeah.
you have samurais.
We do. That's one of the starting 18 classes.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I do think is important, we did a lot of community building within our firm, but a lot also role playing and being in different situations. And I do think that being within your game or other games where people are able to work together and have to problem solve,
Right.
like we're running campaigns with sometimes 8 people. What's the max? There's 10's too much.
10's too much. You could do 10, but that's too much, I think. 8, I would say.
And
like
people-
a DM or a Raveler and 7 others, 6 or 7 others. What you usually have, when you do trials, you have teams though, right? You do trials in terms of teams
We
of
do
2.
teams.
Yeah, I think that's the way
Well,
to
2
do it.
up there and then somebody back that's writing and doing different stuff. But, oh man, this is very interesting.
That's very nice.
But I do think that, man, this does smell good. If lawyers were able to get in situations like that and role play, have to play a different type of character, stay on brand with that character, and problem solve and work together as a team, it goes a long way.
It does, yeah.
This is interesting, man. Fuck. I just want to put its helmet on.
Wow, this one smells very nice.
It does, yeah.
And even that cork is aggressive.
It smells like wood chips or something.
Citrus.
Am I
There's a
tripping?
lot of citrus. Yeah.
Citrus. God, this palate on
Oh,
this
maybe
guy.
it's citrus.
It's citrus,
Wow.
yeah.
Not only does he have a good palate, he knew that I had a bad palate and that what I was smelling was
corrected
the
the wood
wrong.
chip.
Corrected it to what it was. That was awesome.
It takes
I
years
like,
of
I like
patience.
wood chip though.
Wood chip, citrus.
I might
they're the
utilize
same.
that in subsequent whiskey tastings.
This smells like wood chip.
Wood chip.
With the pinky out.
Well, you said it so definitively.
Well, that's what it smelled like to
Yeah.
me. I don't know.
Oh, that is very interesting. It's good.
Yeah, it tastes good. Yeah, I think, like you said, I don't want to harp on it, but having a script and being able to bounce off it, and having another lawyer behind you that can write you notes, and when you're, you know what I see a lot of young lawyers do? They don't know how to lay foundation for a piece of evidence.
Yes.
And a judge or a defendant will object, or a judge won't let it in, and they'll think that it's not getting in for some other reason. And they won't just realize they just need
won't
to
let it go.
lay
Yeah,
foundation.
exactly.
Like, if they just couldn't get out of their head, like sometimes you're in a brain loop. We all do that, especially smart people, you know? You just have someone else, either a tech or another lawyer, be able to be there and say, hey, go try this other route to get that
And
evidence
that's
in.
where we have to, in my opinion, embrace technology in the courtrooms, because we have our computer screens up and we have chat rooms open, sometimes getting real live feeds back to the firm or mothership. Even Justice HQ, we go back to several lawyers to be able to live stream the trial. Just a messaging board giving advice how to lay foundation.
Wow.
So that's where lawyers are afraid of. When I first started trying cases, my biggest fear was like, what if I don't know the law well enough, or what if I can't get that evidence? And that's the biggest fear.
Yeah.
But if you have somebody with credibility that's able to help guide you, it's way easier.
It's actually pretty easy to lay foundation.
It is, and you know it better than most lawyers. You've never took an evidence
You just have
class.
to know how to do it. And
Yep.
if you do, yeah, it's
I got a question for you on that. One of the things we talk about at Mental Health America Los Angeles very often is data. It's this reptilian brain that we are in possession of, and we're really not equipped for the amount of data, the sheer volume of data that we receive on a daily basis. So some of us become much more accustomed or much more adept at dealing with that data. But to your point, you're sitting in a trial, which is already a high pressure situation. You're in receipt of just a copious, prodigious amount of data. And now you've got to look at data coming in from external viewers saying, Bob, what about this? What about this? At what point do you just shut it off and say it's too
good
much?
question.
It's a good filter. So if you have a good co-counsel, so if I'm trying a case with somebody else, they're the filter to make sure the noise is sifted out, and then you're getting it from one person that's
Okay.
getting it to you.
Okay.
So that's why, like, if you've seen us try cases, we do a lot in teams where, like, it's a lot for like mental health and stress. I think it is. I've done a few cases by myself, doing everything soup to nuts for a few weeks. It's a lot, man. It'll put you in the grave early if you do.
You
it
can't
like
do that.
You can't do that.
You can't do that.
And I've been preaching because lawyers are very egotistical humans. So
Absolutely.
We have too much. Can't let go. I got to do everything.
But you want to do it, but you can't do it.
Can't do it.
You can't do that. No.
It's not good for anything.
It's not right for the client either.
No.
It's bad for everybody.
Is there a
You
point
want it.
where you just shut off, where you say, nobody talk to me, I'm in my zone, like I know what I'm trying to do? Really?
It is. I mean, I do that a lot. I do it on the weekends at home with the wife.
No,
and
I
kids
mean
on the
at
little
trial.
child, like-
At trial, is there a point in trial where you say, I know where I'm trying to go, and everybody,
Yeah.
including co-counsel, stop talking to me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, you'll know it if somebody's uncomfortable. What Dave says, he's in that moment where the judge is shutting you down, and I know as the person sitting at the table, I know what you have to say to get it. He's seen me do it. We've been in trial, and I'll
Yeah.
write notes.
Little Post-it
Or
note.
and I'll put it right back, and they'll ask us one question. The defense will object, they'll be overruled, and then it comes in. It's like it's easy. It's just one question. You'd have to. It's so stupid. That's what I hate about the law. It's like
It is
you know-
stupid, but new lawyers get overwhelmed with
They
it.
get overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
They get overwhelmed because they don't know. They haven't been in that setting before. They read all the books in law school, and then they're doing their first case, and they don't understand how to just
So
slowly.
this is
put it-
like one thing that you've talked about, it being in the metaverse. Do you think that somebody could go with an avatar, be in a courtroom, and be able to do real time practice?
Yeah.
Imagine getting hammered by a real judge and trying to put on your case. Some people feel like nervous in the situation. Maybe they put on a Minotaur suit. I don't know.
Yeah.
That is coming in the future.
Yeah, I think so.
Who knows how long, but it's coming. I think.
But I think you would be equally nervous. I think one of the things I noticed the first couple forays into the metaverse was how quickly your mind just adapts to the fact that you're in a virtual world, and it becomes very real. It becomes no different than this conversation right now.
Are we in the metaverse right now?
Maybe we are. Here we go. It's Neo stuff.
Yeah.
We're drinking whiskey, not dropping acid.
That's
guys.
true.
Fuck, that's
I
a
didn't tell
different
you.
show. That's a
Yeah.
different show.
By the way,
By the way,
Yamamoto. Yeah.
Special Costco
Yeah,
version.
yeah,
It has
yeah.
acid in it.
That would be so fucked up if you came to the show and like actually put acid in our whiskey.
I should have done that. I'm really regretful I didn't now. That's pretty good that his chest plate comes off too. I didn't notice that. You can save that.
It's too heavy of an armor though. I like the lighter armor.
I do too.
RPG games.
Elven Ranger all
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Yeah, you're a big. If you playing this game, the game was always rigged for the Ranger, which you had to correct.
It is.
This is his favorite player.
My
so-
other designers have had to tone it down, and I've
Oh,
not
your
been happy
game,
about
your
it.
game's Ranger heavy.
Well, no, it used to be until I was designers correctly told me that
So
I
you made
need to.
super powered Rangers.
They basically had arrows that could be ranges of like 10, but were just as powerful as swords. So
Got it.
no disadvantage at all. Just only advantage.
So long range was just as powerful.
Just as
The one
powerful.
thing that interesting about the different from the D&D is you can class over, so you could play
Yeah,
10
multi-class.
levels as a paladin and then
Okay.
go to a thief if you have like
Okay.
a different.
The whole
This
thing is
the-
building your own character. So you're getting skills from all these different classes, and then at the end of it, you have this multi-class that's really bespoke to you. It has
Okay.
all the skills you
Wow.
want.
And they
It's
unlock these different things. So like, my guy started the big campaign we were. I was a mechanic. I was
Okay.
working
a
on-
gnome, I think.
Like a gnome.
No, I
mechanic.
was the first one.
Oh, you were a
was
dwarf
elf.
or an elf or something.
It was malwire, which nobody figured out was malwire in, which was malwire, and he was putting bad information into the robots the whole campaign, which they didn't get, but whatever.
You turned heel at the end, I
It's pretty
believe.
smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, exactly.
Pretty smart though, Bob.
It was. But anyway, so it started out as a mechanic, and I forget where I classed over, but ended up being a general. He ended up being a general.
You were a general.
So you have general as a class?
Generals and
Super
advanced
class.
classes, yeah. So there's 18 starting classes, and then they split off into 54 advanced classes. There's
Wow.
three per starting class, yeah.
Wow.
But it's like you never see what these are, so you could go into any type of. But they have geomancers, like
Yeah, wizards. We got it all.
Druids.
We've
but
got
it's,
it all.
It's different. Like you can. Thing I hated about Dungeons and Dragons, you pick this thing, you're set.
You were
to-
set, yeah.
to- but
Yeah, it's
now
hard.
you can do 5 levels here, 10 levels here.
Hmm.
But I like going with the story.
Me too. We're story driven for sure. We want to focus on story.
Speaking of story, so this is
We're
called.
already ready?
I know.
What?
Get the fuck out of here, man. What do you guys want to?
I'm gonna sabuku myself from this samurai stuff.
Sabuku is a skill that every player gets in his world. Tell
That's
what
true.
Sabuku is. Tell what Sabuku.
Well, instead of a monster killing you, if you decide you want to kill yourself instead, if that was an older rule though.
Yeah.
We don't now give sabuku to everybody.
Really?
Yeah, but we probably
I like
should.
this.
I think that's a good rule.
But you feigned it, so you're down to 0 hit points, so you can.
You
So
basically
wait,
feign
is
and you knock
death to
yourself out.
0, or do you go sub-0 and then
You
constitution
knock out at
rolls?
0, and then after 3 turns, you're officially
You're
dead, and then you have to roll a new character,
Yep.
and that's that.
How did I not get invited to participate in this?
Actually, the new one because this.
The new one will be the next release will probably be like a month.
Okay,
Then we'll open
please,
it up to
yeah.
some more people, I think.
Because we've had some very in-depth D&D conversations. Yeah, to the
What's your go-to
exclu-
class when you start a campaign?
So-
I have a theory about this. Like, what type of character?
It says something about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, interesting answer. So the first character class I ever played, I was 9, and my older brother. So I grew up in Scotland. Too
Awesome.
cold to do anything except play D&D and play chess. So I
did
did a
both.
lot of
I did
both.
both.
Yeah.
I love that.
First
And
class.
drank whiskey.
Yeah, of course. Started that at 5, unfortunately. But yeah, it's another.
really?
That's a much darker story. Yeah, we'll
We've
save
been
that.
whiskey nippling my girls since they were 0.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's good for you.
Good for the parents.
Yeah. So, the first character class I ever played was a cleric, who oddly enough, what I found out after I'd been playing for about a year, we actually ended up traveling around Scotland playing, and my mom let me play at 11 and actually travel with my older brother.
This is awesome.
And I was introducing myself to the party at 11 in Glasgow, which is about 40 miles from where I grew up. And I told the character of the class, the group, my name, and one of the more erudite, learned people in my class said, "Doesn't that mean coward in Latin?" And I said, "I don't fucking think so." Of course, I didn't say fucking at 11. I said, "Not that I know of." And I kind of catch my brother out of the corner of my eye laughing. And I was like, "You asshole."
He told you to
I've
say
been
it.
running around for 2 years playing this character that he helped me name that
Wow.
meant coward in Latin. So Clerics always had a special place in my life, but the most successful class I ever had was a barbarian that I worked up for a long time, and I played this character for years and years, and kind of built like a whole thematic and narrative and lore legacy behind this barbarian class. But yeah,
That's the stuff we love in our game. We have a barbarian class, Berserker, and we have a cleric class called the
You
Sage.
can go ice or fire.
Fire barbarian we had.
They're very interesting.
Very
I was
cool.
always support class. Same as like I would start with cleric or
Yeah.
someone like I started as the mechanic or someone that's supporting the team through playing my first bard ever, a gnome.
Bards
bard.
are great.
She's very
Bards are
sadistic.
underrated.
This is a very sadistic.
You're good at the bard. You play music when we play.
I actually download songs. when
Yeah.
I does
And you
something.
sets it up and
I
plays
play.
it's amazing.
It's always topical what's going on. I get very excited about
What's
it.
your
great.
favorite?
It's got to be ranger. I like sorcerer or black mage or wizard, and I like rangers. I don't know. I like to be the mysterious elven person with a past that comes out slowly over the campaign. I like to drop things on people late.
This is the most awfully nerdy conversation.
Oh, I love it. This is what I was looking forward to this.
Yeah.
I knew the tangent would go. So storytelling. So this is
here we go.
this is Jefferson's Reserve. It's called. They have one called Jefferson's Ocean. This is a single barrel, which I've never had this one, but they take this one and they age it on the water.
Oh, wow.
So they put this in
does that mean?
barrels. They put it into the ocean. They put it in a ship and it would just sail around the world, and that's how they aged it. They would just pay people a piece of like a position on their boat to put their whiskey barrels. The theory was like when they're in like in Kentucky, the reason they have such good whiskey is they have such high and low temperature. Like it gets real hot, it gets real cold.
That's good for whiskey.
Yeah, because it does different things to it.
To the
That's why.
aging. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
aging.
interesting.
And it just has different flavors, pulls it out. So the theory was let's put it on the ocean and see what the fuck happens.
Yeah, very
Because it's
cool.
rocking and going through the Arctic to
And this is
wherever.
what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like one of the higher ones that you can find, which I've not had this one, and I mean I'm interested to try, but
The
Jefferson.
top of it looks like a wheel on a ship.
but it
You know
has
what I mean? Like
Thomas
a-
Jefferson on it. Looks like I know that from the nickel, but I know it had
That's
anything
great.
to do with him. But
You know that from the nickel. Nice.
what? How do you know that picture from?
I don't know.
Oh, very
yeah,
cool.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah,
You see how Mount
good call.
Rushmore?
No,
No, but
Thomas Jefferson. Is he on Mount Rushmore?
I say
Does anyone know who's on Mount Rushmore? Nobody knows that.
not
answer.
really. No.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Are both Roosevelts? And George
Both
Washington.
Roosevelts.
Washington.
Abraham
And
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln, maybe.
And of course Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
He made it,
wishes.
huh?
He tried. I think he actually tried.
The temperatures, and actually to Bob's point, the little bit of nerdy information
I love it.
actually influences the whiskey and the aging greatly. So Gentleman Jack, for example, Jack Daniels, which we're all familiar with, that was actually just positioned, I believe, higher. It could have been lower, but just higher than the other barrels, which gave it a more mellowed taste, which then became Gentleman Jack rather than
I
just
love
Jack
that.
Daniels. Yeah.
And I like this rather put in the age. They just put very old.
Very old. Yeah.
This is very old.
Which is an interesting, it's actually a legal issue now that the whiskeys and the bourbons have to deal with to be classified as X.
Well, it's like brandy,
age.
right? There's like XO, VO.
Yeah.
That's what all that stands for on the brand.
Brandy, sherry. He's into alcohols that are named after women. This is his thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Brandy's great. You ever have brandy?
Brandy with an I or a Y or an IE.
Just, interesting. I like a nice Y, not an IE. You like the IE?
Depends where I am.
I'm not here for brandy with an IE at the end.
All right. Well, okay. So bottoms up. We're gonna get to the last one here quickly, guys. This
Cheers.
is such
How
an
many do we
interesting
have? 4?
conversation. We have 4. There's a very cool one coming with Charles Lew flavor.
Oh, interesting. You know, another thing that I thought I wanted to go back to. It's not about D&D, but I'm happy to talk about D&D.
Not D&D.
Or Ravel or tabletop games. But a lot of lawyers, I think, this is in life in general, so I don't mean to give some big
Wow, that's nice,
philosophical.
Bob.
This is good.
That's a good one.
Let me try it.
Yeah,
Take
you're
the
gonna
one.
try that. And give us your non-wood chip profile.
It's mulchy.
Fresh cut grass. I get.
To be honest with you, this one is just giving me very smooth. I'm not getting a lot of bold flavor.
What's surprising? This one's 100 proof.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's surprising. That's the
I'm
most
always
impressive
impressed
thing.
when you can get a high proof and it's smooth. So
That's nice.
we did one
Maybe
show. where-
caramel? It's like sweetie?
You're just making
I'm
shit
making
up.
things up.
Yeah.
That's what you do. When you don't know, you just make
the
it
funny
up.
one
See, that's
though
the
about
bartender one.
caramel-
It's called the mirroring, right?
Yeah,
It's-
you know.
Guys, I survived 3 years as a bartender, having no idea how to bartend. So, seriously,
I've been there.
So when people
Just match the color.
Yeah, and it took me probably until the first year of when someone would ask for a drink. Obviously, vodka soda, vodka, those you know. But when someone would ask for something that was a little more complex, you would have a general idea, and you would just, do the same thing. I'd just grab 3 or 4 bottles, turn them, go like, squirt some shit in there, and be like, here you go. I clearly remember the first time it didn't work. I made someone a Long Island iced tea.
Which is pretty much everything anyway.
Which is everything anyway, and I push it across the table. If you do it confidently enough, they're like, well, this guy must know. Look how the way he poured it. And I pushed it across, and I would never, 4 people, they all pick it up, and everybody tastes it. And then the one dude looks at me, he goes, this is a Long Island iced tea? I was like, yeah, I've been doing this forever. There's a Long Island iced tea. Are you stupid? And he's like, hey, man, I've just never had one like this, but it's fucking great. And I was like, of course.
Your confidence, exactly.
So I bartended for multiple years with no idea how to make anything more complex than a vodka soda.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get by.
Yeah.
Confidence is key. Well, that's what I was actually going to say.
Dude.
In life and in trials, too, like, a lot of the new lawyers, or lawyers in general, doesn't have to be a new thing, get steamrolled by defense lawyers because they don't feel confident that they can do things that they can do. Say, for instance, you ask a witness a question, and the witness starts answering a different question, cut the witness off.
Yeah, so stop. We're going to talk about something else.
Yeah, just stop. And you can do that. And a lot of new lawyers just don't think that, they think they're being rude if they do that. Yeah. It's way better to be rude to a witness than to let the witness get in evidence that the jury's going to hear.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But when's the point where it's that young confidence is too much? Like
where it comes off as brash or condescending or like young punk. Yeah.
One of my favorite things I've ever seen is that letter that you post on Instagram.
The Girardi one.
Oh yeah.
Can you tell?
You're never gonna work in this town again.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've never told the story on the show.
It's so good.
Actually, let's tell it over this one.
All right.
Okay, we can save it.
But yeah, let's pull this now. Let's tell this.
What about this?
Guys.
What about the caramel?
Nurse Ratchet, they need some help. God.
But it's such a good story. I feel like there has to be a build up for that story.
Yeah.
Like I feel that story is quintessential Bob. Yeah.
So I'll tell you the story. This was 2000, probably 6 or 7. So it was 1 or 2 years of practicing law, and I was working at a small PI firm, Nojima Letter, still good friends of mine. I was working there through law school, and I was trying to drum up business. So like I'm out there hustling, street hustling, getting cases. I was answering people's questions on like listservs and shit all over the place. So this one guy came to the case. He's like, hey, I'm a lawyer. I referred a case to this guy, Tom Girardi, and he stiffed me on the fee. He's not paying out the fees. Like fast forward now, it's like, oh shit, of course he was paying his fees.
But not when you did this.
Not when I did this.
He was an animal.
He was an animal. He was like the most well-respected like lawyer, but he get all the awards, doing things. So I was a young lawyer, I didn't know who he was at the time. So I took this case, and then he obviously stiffed the guy. I mean, everything's in writing. It's like so obvious what happened. So I filed a lawsuit against him to recoup the money and the client that he had, because that's how you have to do it in arbitration. He sends me a letter, and I post it on Instagram. It's still like one of the biggest people.
It's amazing.
Oh, bro. And it just says, Dear Simon, not even Bob or Robert, just Dear Simon. It's like, you have...
it's so dismissive.
It's like, you have 24 hours to dismiss this lawsuit, or I'll make sure you never work again in this town. Signed, Tom Girardi. I was like, what the fuck is this? I remember getting the letter and walking into like John O'G, the partner. He's like, fucking Tom Girardi? We sued Tom Girardi? Why would you sue Tom Girardi? I was like, because he fucked this guy over. And he was like, he did fuck this guy over. He's like, you can do whatever you want with this case.
Nice.
I said, sounds good to me.
Were you nervous for a minute?
For a minute, I was like, because I looked him up, I was like, this guy's actually the real deal.
Animal,
What, he thinks the fucking legal mafia or something?
Yeah.
So then I went and did an arbitration. We had to go to arbitration because you had a fee dispute first before you get to the case. And I learned some shit in law school. Was like, you can put the adverse witness. You can call an adverse witness whenever you want your case. It was like a 3-day arbitration. So I was like, I was going to call Tom Girardi.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
Bro, so Tom Girardi walks up. And so one of the guys is a good friend of mine, a great plaintiff lawyer, Thomas Johnson, who was an associate with him at the time, had to represent him for this lawsuit. And we tell stories. It was so funny. So we get there. I was like, I want to call Tom Girardi. And he gets there, and then he sits down at the table where this arbitration is. I was like, excuse me, our panel arbitrators, but again, something I learned in law school, I heard about. Witnesses that are testifying can't be in the room, so they got to leave. Like, that's right, leave, Mr. Girardi. So we had to go sit outside. I waited 2 days to call him. So he had to sit out there for 2 days.
So good.
And as soon as he came in, you could cross an adverse witness. So I was just like, isn't it true you didn't have a retainer with that client? Isn't it true you settled this case behind a closed door with like it was what was his name? Roger Corman. He was like doing B movies. It was like, this was the underlying case. So he settled this case. It's like so Tom Girardi right now. Took the defense lawyer out of the picture, went with the defendant. Roger Corman went to his house behind closed doors and like wrestled a settlement out of him. Somehow. Can you imagine
How
what
old are
shady
you
shit?
when you're doing this stuff?
26, 27.
I mean, but that's the point. This is going back to what we talked about. 90% of 26-year-olds are
Would
not
not have sent that
touching
letter.
that. Not a chance.
Not a chance. 99%.
And I framed that shit after we won, and they had to pay.
And I bet you it got easier to send letters like that after you sent that first one.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's so nerve-wracking to send something like that. And then when you realize that people, all right, they're not as bad. It's not a big bad wolf like you think it's going to be.
But it happens all the time, like paper tigers. It's like,
Yeah.
meet me for a drink and let's talk about
But
this.
he's
Like,
not a paper tiger.
No, he's not.
No.
Girardi, are you friends with him now?
Who?
Tom Girardi?
He's in prison.
He is?
He's about to be.
About
You
to
don't
be.
know this whole story?
No.
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
He got caught
that's
stealing hundreds and hundreds of millions of
Yeah.
dollars of clients' funds.
Oh, so
Yeah.
that was the start of it back then.
I've been telling people ever since that this was going on, like within our organizations, and some people referring them cases, whatever. That's a whole
Well, good
different.
for
Yeah,
you,
but
though.
as a young lawyer, I had a similar instance, not as a young lawyer, just a couple years ago with a very, very established lawyer, someone who would be much more established with me in the legal field. And even then, at 42, 43, I was sitting there saying, this is a very well-known lawyer. Do I really want to draw the line in the
Is this
sand?
a story about me, dude?
It was
I feel like you're like,
It was
I was
Bob.
intimidating
I was
you.
trying not to use Bob's name, but no, I think, but then
Can I peek at this? I just
yeah,
want
of
to see
course.
what you got going
to
on.
go back to what Bob was saying and what we were saying. The funny thing I always think about now, especially as a adjunct professor at Loyola Law doing Web3 and Metaverse, is at what point are the young lawyers or the young students who are becoming lawyers, at what point is it just brash and obnoxious, and at what point is it well-founded? Like,
you know the line. when you
Do,
see
I'd
do
like
you
to
really
think you know the line, yeah.
Do
Some
you
people
really?
don't.
I don't know that you always do.
I mean, talk about lines like the McAllen. You're a McAllen guy. This
I'm a
is like-
McAllen guy.
That looks
Tell me
great.
the story. I've never even heard of this one.
I never heard of it either. It looks awesome.
This is cool. So the way I always start my McAllen stories is grew up in Scotland, 5 years of age. I will never forget this. My
You really was 5 the first time.
Yeah, I really was 5. I know it's somewhat embarrassing. My papa tells me at Hogmanay, a big Scottish holiday, obviously New Year's, and he says to my mom, "Give the wee one, wean, give him a dram."
Sure you didn't say
Yeah,
weenus?
wean. And my mom says he's
It's part of your elbow, by the way. Don't
The weenus?
Is it
stop. It's this. This is your weenus.
really?
Why would you go? Okay.
Well,
whatever.
we're called weans in Scotland. So he says, give the wean a dram or give him a sip.
That's right.
So my mom says, of course, no, he's 5. And my grandpa says, well, he'll drink it sooner or later, so let's do it now. So he gives me a little sip, a dram, a half dram of Macallan, but what he does is he mixes it with lemonade. Now, your initial reaction to that would be appalled because you're thinking of American lemonade, but lemonade in Scotland is Sprite or 7-Up.
Oh,
So
fun.
it's essentially just a diluted Macallan. So that was my first experience with Macallan at 5.
I love that.
Yeah. So this whole bar that we're sitting in right now, the firm was actually inspired by Macallan.
Oh,
So
really?
if
I
you
love Macallan.
see-
Is that your
yeah.
favorite distillery?
So Macallan is by far my favorite.
Yeah.
We've got some extremely rare expressions of Macallan, but one of the ones expressions, yes. But one of the ones I'm
Got the right
very
guy, Bob.
fond of is this. It's a harmony. So actually, I'm not even going to tell you anything about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it, and I want your learned profile.
Wow. I'll keep mulch out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I am very confident you're going to get this.
You are?
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I'm in. Let's
I'm
do it.
very confident
Pour it
because
up,
it
bro.
is so pronounced and so well done.
Okay.
That we're going to put you on the spot. You're going to tell
Okay.
us also.
Right.
You're both.
It'll be a
gonna-
contest for us.
Yeah, because I am very confident in both of your thoughts.
I want to hear more about Scotland. I went to Scotland. It was one of the only countries I've been to, and I loved it.
What'd
We
you
went to
think?
Edinburgh, though.
Okay.
And I learned in Edinburgh that it's never been above 89 degrees, apparently. Like, the hottest it's ever been up there is 90 or 89 degrees. And also, it doesn't really get dark at night. Or at least when we were there.
It doesn't.
It's
yeah.
like, it was kind of light at
That's
9
cool.
at night. I was
Yeah.
like, what is going on here? It was
It
awesome,
is,
actually.
It is light all the time with
Yeah.
incredible
think
northern
that's-
lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome. We didn't see, like, any green northern lights or anything, but that's probably the same effect of why it's like that. Yeah, it was awesome.
I think you guys are making shit up.
Have you been to Scotland?
No.
Well,
should
we,
go.
but
We've been talking about
but
it. We're
we
gonna
are
go.
going. We
We're going
are.
to do a Bourbon of Proof tour from Dublin to Scotland, 100%. We'll do a little dram for the Wayne over here. You sure
I'd
it's
love to
not
go back to
Wayne's
Scotland.
brother? A Wayne?
Wayne.
Wayne?
You think Glasgow is better than Edinburgh to visit, or?
I think it depends entirely on what you're looking for. If you're looking for the Hogwarts, you have to go to Edinburgh.
Hogwarts?
Yeah.
Hogwarts. If you're looking Harry Potter, Bob. I'm going to take you to Edinburgh. You're going to walk around. You're going to feel like you were transported.
I gotta take my kid.
Yeah.
There's like a cobblestone road that goes up to Edinburgh Castle, and it just
Yeah,
literally
it's
looks
incredible.
like Hogsmeade.
Yeah. But if you want like now,
I can smell what it is. I can tell you what it is.
Now Glasgow is very, very. It's quintessential Scottish character, but without necessarily the old school ideologies that you would necessarily prescribe to Scotland.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to
All right,
Glasgow.
Joe. Well,
All right,
to,
I haven't.
Harmony is harmony.
Oh, I can spell something for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if I taste it. It smells like
It
chocolate.
smells better. It's chocolate.
It smells
there
like
you go.
chocolate, right?
See?
I was gonna say cadaver, but
Get-
you stole. He said chocolate. I was like, oh, chocolate.
Yeah, so that's
It's
awesome.
very smooth.
Good.
It's very smooth,
Good.
yeah.
So,
Oh, man.
so this is chocolate inspired, rich cacao. So actually, this particular one is inspired by rich cacao. It's
It's almost like a liqueur.
I thought
Like,
Rich Cacao was a guy, like inspired by Richard
Ri-
Cacao.
Richard is an incredible individual. But yeah, it's actually the Roca brothers, Roca family. So, but this is my
Dude, this
love
is
or
good.
affinity.
How many different expressions does McKellen do?
Quite a few, and
Like
and they
more than
do-
20?
Oh yeah, and they
Oh,
do
really?
they do specials and limited edition. For example, I just or just acquired the Brad collection. There's a James Bond collection coming up, which
Nice.
is inspired by the James Bond.
Do they have a
So
PP7? Sounds or PP7.
maybe a PP7.
GoldenEye just got re-released.
I'm excited for this in the Star Console. Well, we're about to wrap up. We're gonna end on gaming. So Dave,
Let's do it.
So this is how we always end the show.
Now I'm getting drunk. I'm ready.
Okay. So speaking of that, we got to ask you, Dave Racki,
Yep.
what is your bourbon of proof? What was your favorite? Where do you like to lie? How do you like your whiskey?
Well, I don't know the McKellen's bourbon. It's Scotch, right?
Scotch.
But I am.
I'm
allowed?
Whiskey. Yeah, it's all.
Today,
So
my bourbon
whiskey.
of proof is that chocolate McKellen for
Wow.
sure.
Cheers
Nice.
to that.
For sure.
I like.
I thought they were all pretty good. I think maybe the Blood Oath was my least favorite.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I don't know. It just
But I
felt a
like
little
the
harsh.
name.
I like the name.
The taste I wasn't crazy about, but the name I was sold.
Yeah, I'm sold on the name, and I'll do a Blood Oath with you anytime, Bob. But I'd rather drink the McKellen.
All right.
Generally
the Blood
speaking-
Oaths and Macallans and role playing and
Yeah.
Cilantro.
Cheers.
to David Racki,
Thanks. Cheers to you.
Esquire Pseudo.
Pseudo.
Yeah.
Adjacent.
Faux Esquire.
Well, Esquire.
I started classing into lawyer, and I changed. I'm a level 20 tech now.
Yeah.
He's a technician / thief.
Slash
Yeah.
thief. Thief.
That's a great class. You can shadow walk. You can
You're right.
backstab.
I can hide in
if you want to.
shadows. Yeah, that's good. Just pop out of a courtroom with a deposition.
Hey. Well, guys, there we were. Thanks for this coming to this episode of Bourbon of Proof. Thanks.
Thanks.